Another important concept in extension is communication. Communication is inevitable. Without communication, there is no extension education program, teaching and learning, management and administration, etc. After extension education program, we have to know about communication in extension. Especially in this class, we are going to discuss what is communication, what are the elements of communication, and characters of the elements of communication. Let's start. Basically, communication is the process by which two or more people exchange ideas, facts, feelings, impressions, and getting a common understanding about these ideas, facts, feelings, and impressions. There will be a communicator and receiver in the communication. The process of exchange of information between these two people and gaining a common understanding about that information is called communication. Communication came from the word communis, a Latin word which means commonness. In extension, the purpose of communication is to change the behavior of the people. Let's see what are the elements of communication system. Communication has communicator, message or content, channel, treatment of the message, audience response, and feedback. These are the elements of a typical communication system. Let us understand what are the characters of these elements in detail. The first element in the communication is communicator, who is the source of the message. For the extension program, we have to act as a communicator. To be a good communicator, we must know the audience and content, process of communication, and command over the channel of communication. As a communicator, we have to get a very good interest in audience welfare and to improve the communication skills. We must have a good plan for our communication process. A good communicator must be very much skillful to treat the message, to make that message more understandable to the audience. Next important element in the communication is message. It is an information a communicator wishes his audience to receive. It is relevant cargo to be carried to the people by various channels of the communication. A good message must be in line with the objectives and audience. It is very much clear and specific and effectively manageable by the communicator. Another important element in the communication is channel. Channels are the physical bridges between sender and the receiver, like air, telephone, internet connections, etc. But this channel often challenged by the noise. Noise is the obstruction that enter into the channel can block the message to be transferred. It may be lack of skill for communicator to effectively use the channel. Sometimes non-suitability of the channels to the objective. Many times physical distractions. Sometimes too many channels can also be a noise in the communication. Next element is treatment of the message. This is very much important in the extension program. As a communicator, we must have good skill in treatment of the message to make the message more clear and understandable to the audience. There are some ways to treat that message. Matters of general organizations like repetition of important ideas. If our speech is monotonous, audience may listen to you, but they may not get important things in your speech. So, repetition and stressing upon the important ideas are the kinds of treatment we can give to the message. Then, matters of speaking and acting. Our objective is to provide them with clear and good information, not to show our cleverness. So, be clear, not clever. Matter of symbol variation. We have to use various teaching methods to teach them or to provide clear-cut information to them. So, for making our message more understandable, we have to organize group discussions, brainstormings, role plays, etc. Rather, just teaching like in classrooms. Treatment is a creative task that has to be tailor-made for each instance of communication. Extension service providers must be a master in treatment of the message. Another important element in communication is audience, who receives the message. The more homogeneous an audience, more successful communication happen. Usually our audience, the farmers, are heterogeneous, not homogeneous like students in the classroom. So it is a challenge for the communicator. Another important challenges communicator gets from the audience are selective exposure, selective perception, selective retention. Audience just expose them to the information what they are interested in. They perceive the information in only the way they want, and they retain only a selective information. So as a communicator, we have to understand all these characters of the audience to perform good communication. Audience response is the action taken by the audience after communication. That may be accepting or rejecting our idea or innovation, remembering or forgetting the information we have shared. Feedback is the information received by the communicator from the audience during the process of communication. That feedback information may be oral, written, signs, postures, gestures, etc. Feedback helps the communicator to manage the communication process effectively. Let's see some of the characters of the feedback. Feedback is a source-oriented, varies in different communication situations, affects the source or communicator. It exerts control over the future messages, affects communication fidelity, that means effective communication. And feedback maintains the stability or equilibrium in the communication system. Feedback should be a continuous process for the effective communication. For this class, I am the communicator, you all are audience. Please give your feedback. Thank you.